Hello everyone, this is NImish and today we're going to review the movie Pulimurugan starring the one and only complete actor Mohanlal. This movie is the biggest blockbuster in the Malayalam film industry and I have a lot to say about this movie. So let's begin with the constructive review and follow it up with a discussion about what this movie was all about. So the first half of this movie builds up the story about Pulimurugan, or the tiger hunter, the titular character played by Mohanlal, and how his childhood was, how he became the tiger hunter, and it ends on a very high note about with a great twist. And I don't want to reveal anything, but the movie in the first half builds up in pace steadily, smoothly, and is perfectly directed. I love the writing of the first half. I love the scenes that were written. I love the way they were shot. I like the cinematography, the camera work, the framing, the screenplay. Everything about the first half was outstanding in on a technical front. This movie has been shot in the locations of the jungles with some crazy action scenes of the tigers, some beautiful costume designing, character designing, and it looks fabulous. It's a visual treat. The first half, every scene has been well thought out, and on a technical front, it is absolutely brilliant. The first half is every frame, every scene is so well thought out, so well shot. The cameras have been so well placed, and so much time and effort has gone in into making that first half so beautiful that it looks visually that it is stunning. So technically, I loved every bit of the first half, including the shots of the animals, the younger Mohanlal, which was played by the actor, and that sequence of kind of catching the tiger itself, which is outstanding. The VFX that has gone through, yes, of course, 5 to 10% of the scenes sometimes look, unreal and VFX-ish, but it's nevertheless never distracting. It looks as real as it possibly can, and the effects and everything technically is amazing. The one of my favorite VFX shots was where the arrow was thrown and it cuts the leaf into two and goes through. Those are the kind of scenes that take months, if not days, to make, and it is outstanding. The characters are well built, well structured. They are given enough time to build themselves so you understand each and every character. And every character has a very special role and has a very special character trait that is very strongly built up in the first half. And it ends on that note where we get to know the life of Mohanlal in the movie, what he does, what he's facing, and what the situations will be that he will be facing in the second half. So first half is outstanding on the technical front. Now the second half moves outside the forest, and because it moves outside the forest, for some reason suddenly all the technical requirements disappear, or the director does not keep up with them, and so technically it becomes a regular film. It looks regular because it's in the city, it's in the town, it's got the goons, it's got the police, it's got the villain, it's got the mostly a very commercial feel to it, which completely contrasts the first half. Whether this is a good thing or not, I'm not sure, because the first half required that, the second half did not require that. So I feel that there is a heavy contrast and a heavy difference between the effort that was put in the first half to structure the movie in such a beautiful way in terms of visual appeal and technical appeal, and in the second half it suddenly becomes very regular. It suddenly becomes like they, I don't know, ran out of budget or they didn't bother. But yeah, that was just a joke. But that's what was required in the second half. Like they just did wanted to keep it simple, and so it remains that way because he's placed out of the forest. On the acting front, Mohanlal is fantastic. He is natural. That's the most common and most strong and important comment that always is made about Mohanlal, which is that he's the most natural actor, and that is clearly visible. He plays his part as the hunter most believably, most perfectly. At this age, he is doing that kind of crazy actions. He's literally going round and round, up and down, jumping, and it is fantastic, a treat to watch. And it is an inspiration because someone who at that age can do all this makes us wonder what the hell are we doing in our life. So he is fantastic. The effort he has put in is outstanding. The stunts he has performed is mind-blowing, and he does a fantastic job. In the second half, he has some emotional scenes, very short emotional scenes, which makes a drastic impact because his performance is so fabulous in those emotional scenes, which are mostly to do with his brother, that he played his part perfectly. And the number one reason and the only reason for the mega duper super trooper success of this movie is that we all the fans of Mohanlal that ever were and are get to see Mohanlal in a completely new avatar, get to see him in a completely new image. And as you guys might be knowing, and you guys have told me that mostly Malayalam movies, and also from what I've experienced, are usually very sentimental, down to earth, natural, nothing over the top, nothing commercial. So this is a treat for all the fans. It's like a complete reinvention of this megastar. I have not watched too many commercial movies in the Malayalam film industry. Neither have I watched commercial movies of Mohanlal. So for me, this was a complete reinvention, and I strongly believe that the only reason for such a movie, such a commercial movie, to be the biggest hit of the Malayalam film industry, which is two completely contrasting points, is because it has this man who's a demigod, who is one of the most talented actors that India has ever produced, and he is the reason for this legendary movie that has been released. And I think that it is outstanding and credible how his graph, his career graph, just never stops going up. It just continues to go up, and it's fantastic that even today he is number one, and he is made the highest grossing film. And I think before this, the highest grossing film was Drishyam, which was last year, which was his film again. So he is doing fantastic, and he is immortal. All the other supporting actors did a decent job. They did what they had to do. The wife, played by Kamalini Mukherjee, I thought was someone very commercial, but then as the story started progressing, and as Jagapati Babu also entered in the second half and all the characters entered, I realized that, you know what, this is a commercial movie, and the director wanted them to act that way. The director wanted those commercial elements which are over intentionally trying to be funny, over intentionally villainous. So all the performances by the supporting cast were directly based out of what the director wanted from them. And it was not that they are bad actors, because Jagapati Babu is a legend in himself. Kamalini Mukherjee, I'm sure she's a great actor. So, but this was a requirement of the movie. They were supposed to perform that way, which is why I feel that Mohanlal is absolutely fantastic, because he's the only one who maintained his ground in this movie, along with the small kid who played Mohanlal, who also did a great job. He played a fantastic role that even in a commercial movie, he didn't budge from his natural style of acting. He didn't go over the top to be a hunter. He didn't go over emotional, and he stood his ground, which is fantastic. Which is why the best performance and the only worthy performance in this movie was of Mohanlal. Everyone else gave the support that they were supposed to give, that was required of them, and it was all very well balanced. On the story front, I think that this movie has a perfect distinction between the two halves, the first half and the second half. The first half, I felt, is so well written. It was so well structured, built up, leading to the twist at the interval. It was so good that suddenly when you watch the second half and you come out of the theater, you may enjoy the movie a lot. You may love it. It may be the highest grossing movie. You may watch it 100 times. But if you just compare the two halves, the second half felt like any other commercial movie, which is usually made in India, South India or Bollywood, wherein there's a very smart hero, there's a villain who's doing some scandals and some drugs or some money laundering. There is police who is in a gray area between both, and you don't know which side they'll end up on. And there are action sequences, there are smart sequences where the actor shows how smart he is to get out of situation, and there are action sequences where he shows his power, and it ends with an action sequence. So overall, this second half was structured like any typical commercial movie, and no matter how big a hit this is, how special this movie is, there is no denying that on a writing level, the second half is completely simple. There's nothing great about it. That's why I keep repeatedly saying in this review that the only reason this movie is so huge is because of the power that Mohanlal commands when he comes on screen, and he is fantastic in this movie. Coming to my next point, I have noticed a very strong integration happening between the Malayalam cinema and the Telugu cinema, especially this year with Manamanta, which starred Mohanlal, which was a Telugu film and his debut in the Telugu film industry, which was also released as Vismayam in Kerala. Then there was Janata Garage, which was again Mohanlal with Junior NTR. It was a Telugu film. And now there is Pulimurugan with Jagapati Babu, which will be released in Telugu. I just read that a few minutes back, that it will be released in Telugu with another title. I'm not sure what the name is. But this shows a very increased integration, and it is the core reason why this movie is so commercial. But my surprise element actually is that from my experiences with Malayalam cinema, my discussions with you guys, and from what I've noted, this is a surprise blockbuster, because you wouldn't expect such a big commercial movie which is made in the Tamil Telugu style of filmmaking with a crazy strong villain, police, all those scenes, action, which is made in that style to be a biggest hit in the Malayalam film industry. So there is something about this movie which is special and surprising that out of all the movies, this movie becomes the highest grosser in the Malayalam cinema. Now, last year Drishyam I think was the highest grosser, and it was the highest grosser of all time. And Drishyam is very much understandably a legendary movie to become that highest grosser in the Malayalam film industry because it suits the sentiments, it suits the kind of filmmaking. So when I went in, understanding that this movie was a huge blockbuster, it's going to reach 100 crores, I was like, there has to be something outstandingly special in this movie and different. And I felt so in the first half that even though it's commercial, even though it's super duper commercial, it does touch the Malayalam sentiments in the first half. It's very differently, uniquely shot, and I was absolutely enjoying it. And the second half, although enjoyable, kind of becomes the same old, like a Telugu Tamil style of commercial cinema, wherein, as I just said. So it's very surprising. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's good or bad. I'm saying it's very surprising that such a movie becomes the top grosser. And as I keep saying over and over again, I think that the primary reason is the power of Mohanlal, who is fantastic in this movie, and it's just unbelievable what he's achieved. Overall, I felt that the first half was outstanding, the second half was regular, and even though it's a special movie, even though it's the highest grosser, even though it has Mohanlal, even though it has Jagapati Babu, I think that the second half could have been better. I think that the second half could have been different, interesting. It could have gone in some other direction than the same old hero villain thing with the villain doing some drug smuggling and sandalwood smuggling and all of that. It just felt very repetitive. So the second half was just average, but the first half was outstanding, both technically and in terms of the writing and acting and direction and everything. So overall, this is an entertaining movie. It's definitely something you should watch because it's different. The first half is different, the build up is different. It's something you've not seen Mohanlal do before. His performance is brilliant. So I'm going with 3 stars for Pulimurugan, but an extra half star, which makes it 3.5 only for Mohanlal because he killed it and his career grade is going, I don't know, it's just never going to stop. It's like the plane takes off and never lands. So he was fantastic. So I'm going with 3.5 stars for Pulimurugan. I hope you like this review. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and keep watching.